Question 1. Quality control measures reveal that a significant number of admissions committee members have expressed reservations about a particular applicant's academic record, citing concerns about their preparedness for the rigorous curriculum. However, the applicant's family has strong ties to a major donor, and the applicant has demonstrated exceptional extracurricular achievements that could enhance the university's profile. The Dean of Admissions is under pressure to ensure a high yield rate for the incoming class. What is the most ethically sound and professionally responsible course of action for the Dean of Admissions in this situation? Option A. Override the admissions committee's reservations and recommend admission for the applicant, emphasizing the potential financial benefits and the applicant's extracurricular achievements to the committee. Option B. Inform the admissions committee that the applicant's potential contributions to the university outweigh their academic concerns and instruct them to approve the admission. Option C. Uphold the admissions committee's concerns by requesting a supplementary academic assessment from the applicant and engaging in a detailed discussion with the committee to determine if the applicant meets the minimum academic thresholds for admission, while also considering the applicant's unique strengths within the established holistic review framework. Option D. Postpone the decision on this applicant until after the enrollment deadline, hoping that other applicants will fill the class, thereby reducing the pressure to admit this particular student. Correct answer is C. Uphold the admissions committee's concerns by requesting a supplementary academic assessment from the applicant and engaging in a detailed discussion with the committee to determine if the applicant meets the minimum academic thresholds for admission, while also considering the applicant's unique strengths within the established holistic review framework. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between maintaining academic integrity and the pressure to admit a promising but potentially unqualified student. The university's reputation, the fairness to other applicants, and the ethical obligations of the admissions committee are all at stake. Careful judgment is required to balance these competing interests. The correct approach involves a thorough, objective review of the applicant's file, seeking additional information where necessary, and making a decision based on established admissions criteria and ethical principles. This upholds the integrity of the admissions process, ensures fairness to all applicants, and aligns with the university's commitment to academic standards. Specifically, it adheres to the Alvernia University Entrance Exam Guidelines, which emphasize a holistic review process that considers academic merit alongside other relevant factors, while also respecting the principle of equal opportunity for all candidates. An incorrect approach would be to override the admissions committee's concerns solely based on the potential financial benefit or the perceived future success of the applicant. This action would undermine the established admissions process, potentially compromise academic standards, and create an unfair advantage for this applicant over others who met the criteria more directly. It would also violate the ethical duty to act impartially and in the best interest of the university's academic mission. Another incorrect approach would be to dismiss the concerns of the admissions committee without further investigation or discussion. This would disregard the expertise and judgment of the committee members and could lead to admitting a student who is not adequately prepared for the rigor of the program, potentially leading to academic failure and a negative impact on the university's retention and graduation rates. This fails to adhere to the principle of due diligence in the admissions process. The professional decision-making process in such situations should involve 1. Acknowledging the ethical dilemma and the competing interests. 2. Consulting the relevant university policies and the Alvernia University Entrance Exam Guidelines. 3. Facilitating open and honest discussion within the admissions committee to thoroughly evaluate all aspects of the applicant's profile and the committee's concerns. 4. Seeking objective data or additional assessments if there are specific areas of doubt. 5. Making a decision that is defensible based on established criteria and ethical considerations, prioritizing academic integrity and fairness. Question 2. Benchmark analysis indicates that during the Alvernia University entrance exam, a candidate is approached by another student offering to share answers to upcoming sections of the exam, claiming they have prior access to the questions. The candidate is under significant pressure to achieve a high score for admission. What is the most ethically and professionally responsible course of action for the candidate? Option A. Report the student offering the assistance to the exam proctor immediately, while also refusing any involvement. Option B. Accept the shared answers to ensure a high score, rationalizing that it is a common practice among ambitious students. Option C. Express gratitude for the offer but decline, and then try to subtly observe the other student's performance to gauge their own progress. Option D. Politely but firmly refuse the offer of assistance and continue with the exam independently, ensuring no unauthorized materials or information are used. The correct answer is D. Politely but firmly refuse the offer of assistance and continue with the exam independently, ensuring no unauthorized materials or information are used. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between a student's desire for academic success and the university's commitment to academic integrity. The pressure to perform well on entrance exams can lead individuals to consider unethical shortcuts. Careful judgment is required to navigate this situation in a manner that upholds ethical standards and the integrity of the Alvernia University entrance exam. The correct approach involves prioritizing academic integrity and adhering strictly to the examination rules and ethical guidelines established by Alvernia University. This means refusing to engage in any form of academic dishonesty, including the use of unauthorized materials or seeking external assistance. This approach is ethically sound because it respects the principles of fairness, honesty, and meritocracy that underpin the university's admissions process. It aligns with the implicit contract between the student and the institution, where the student agrees to demonstrate their knowledge and abilities through legitimate means. Alvernia University's examination regulations, as per standard academic practice, would prohibit any form of cheating or unauthorized assistance, making this the only professionally acceptable course of action. An incorrect approach would be to accept the offer of unauthorized assistance. This is ethically unacceptable because it constitutes academic dishonesty, undermining the fairness of the examination for all other candidates. It violates the trust placed in the student by the university and demonstrates a lack of integrity. From a regulatory perspective, Alvernia University's entrance exam guidelines would explicitly forbid such actions, and engaging in them could lead to disqualification from the exam and potential future academic repercussions. Another incorrect approach would be to ignore the offer but feel pressured to perform exceptionally well, leading to excessive anxiety and potentially compromising the student's ability to focus on the actual exam content. While not directly cheating, this approach fails to address the ethical dilemma proactively and can lead to undue stress that hinders genuine performance. The ethical failure here lies in not taking a clear stance against potential misconduct and allowing external pressures to negatively impact the examination process. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a clear understanding of the university's academic integrity policies and ethical codes. When faced with a temptation or an offer of unethical assistance, the professional response is to immediately and unequivocally reject it. This involves clearly communicating the refusal and, if necessary, reporting the incident to the appropriate university authority. Professionals must cultivate a strong internal ethical compass that prioritizes honesty and integrity above short-term gains or pressures. This involves self-reflection on personal values and a commitment to upholding the standards of the profession or academic institution. Question 3. Research into the Alvernia University entrance exam procedures has revealed a situation where a proctor observes a candidate discreetly using unauthorized notes during the examination. The proctor is aware of the university's strict policy against academic dishonesty. What is the most ethically and professionally responsible course of action for the proctor? Option A. Ignore the observed cheating to avoid causing a scene and potentially jeopardizing the candidate's admission. Option B. Privately approach the candidate after the exam and suggest they withdraw their application to avoid further consequences. Option C. Submit an anonymous report of the incident to the university administration without direct confrontation or documentation of the specific candidate. Option D. Immediately and discreetly confiscate the unauthorized notes and inform the candidate that their exam will be invalidated and reported according to university policy. The correct answer is D. Immediately and discreetly confiscate the unauthorized notes and inform the candidate that their exam will be invalidated and reported according to university policy. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between a student's desire for academic success and the university's commitment to academic integrity. Pressure to perform well on entrance exams can lead individuals to consider unethical shortcuts. Careful judgment is required to navigate this situation ethically and in accordance with Alvernia University's established guidelines. The correct approach involves prioritizing honesty and integrity by admitting to the observed misconduct. This aligns with the core ethical principles expected of all members of the academic community, including students and faculty, and directly upholds Alvernia University's commitment to fair and honest evaluation. Reporting the incident, even if it leads to negative consequences for the student involved, is a professional obligation to maintain the integrity of the examination process and the university's reputation. This upholds the principle of academic honesty, which is fundamental to the educational mission. An incorrect approach would be to ignore the observed cheating. This failure to act condones academic dishonesty and undermines the fairness of the entrance exam for all other candidates. It violates the implicit trust placed in faculty and staff to uphold university standards and can lead to unqualified individuals being admitted, thereby diminishing the value of an Alvernia University degree. Another incorrect approach would be to confront the student privately and suggest they withdraw their application without reporting the incident. While seemingly less confrontational, this still fails to address the root issue of academic misconduct. It allows the student to escape accountability for their actions and does not fulfill the professional duty to report violations of university policy. This approach bypasses the established procedures for handling academic dishonesty, which are designed to ensure a fair and consistent process. A further incorrect approach would be to report the incident anonymously. While this might seem like a way to avoid direct confrontation, it can hinder a thorough investigation. University procedures often require specific details and the ability to follow up with the reporting party. Anonymous reports can be difficult to verify and may not provide sufficient information for appropriate action, thus failing to fully uphold the university's commitment to a transparent and accountable process. A professional decision-making process in such situations should involve a clear understanding of Alvernia University's academic integrity policies. When observing potential misconduct, the immediate step is to document the observation accurately. Following this, the professional should consult the university's established procedures for reporting academic dishonesty, which typically involves informing a designated authority such as the proctor, department head, or academic integrity office. This ensures that the situation is handled through the proper channels, maintaining fairness and due process for all involved. Question 4. Quality control measures reveal that a specific batch of standardized test papers used for the Alvernia University entrance exam exhibits a subtle but discernible printing error that could inadvertently favor candidates who received early access to a draft version of the exam. The administrator responsible for overseeing this batch is aware of this discrepancy. Option A. Overlook the printing error, assuming it is minor and unlikely to significantly impact test results, and proceed with the exam as scheduled. Option B. Immediately report the printing error and its potential implications to the Alvernia University Admissions Committee and the head of examinations, providing all relevant details. Option C. Attempt to subtly correct the printing error on the remaining test papers before they are distributed without reporting the initial discovery. Option D. Discreetly inform the candidates who received tests from this batch about the printing error, advising them to be aware of it during the exam. The correct answer is B. Immediately report the printing error and its potential implications to the Alvernia University Admissions Committee and the head of examinations, providing all relevant details. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the conflict between maintaining academic integrity and the pressure to present favorable outcomes. The university entrance exam is designed to assess a candidate's genuine aptitude and preparedness. Any deviation from fair and objective assessment undermines the credibility of the examination process and the institution itself. Careful judgment is required to uphold ethical standards and ensure a level playing field for all applicants. The correct approach involves immediately reporting the discovered anomaly to the appropriate university authorities. This upholds the principle of academic integrity, which is paramount in any educational institution. Specifically, it aligns with Alvernia University's stated commitment to ethical conduct and fair assessment practices, as would be detailed in their internal academic regulations and examination policies. By reporting, the individual acts as a responsible steward of the examination process, ensuring that any potential bias or unfair advantage is addressed transparently and according to established procedures. This proactive measure prevents the compromised results from influencing admission decisions and protects the reputation of the university. An incorrect approach of ignoring the anomaly would be a failure to uphold academic integrity and potentially a breach of Alvernia University's Code of Conduct for exam administrators or faculty. This inaction allows potentially unfair admissions to occur, devaluing the efforts of other candidates and eroding trust in the university's assessment system. Another incorrect approach of attempting to fix the results without proper authorization or reporting would constitute academic misconduct and a violation of Alvernia University's policies on data manipulation and examination security. This could lead to severe disciplinary action and further compromise the integrity of the admissions process. A third incorrect approach of discussing the anomaly with the candidate before reporting it would also be a breach of confidentiality and could be construed as an attempt to influence the outcome or cover up the issue, violating Alvernia University's ethical guidelines for handling sensitive information related to examinations. Professionals in this situation should follow a decision-making framework that prioritizes transparency, adherence to institutional policy, and ethical conduct. This involves 1. Identifying the ethical conflict, 2. Consulting relevant university policies and codes of conduct, 3. Reporting the issue through the designated channels without delay, 4. Cooperating fully with any subsequent investigation. 5. Maintaining confidentiality throughout the process. Question 5. Comparative studies suggest that the pressure to gain admission to prestigious universities can sometimes lead individuals to consider compromising their ethical standards. Imagine you are a prospective student preparing for the Alvernia University entrance exam. Shortly before the exam, an acquaintance offers you access to leaked exam questions, claiming it will guarantee your admission. How should you ethically respond to this offer? Option A. Accept the leaked exam questions and use them to ensure your admission to Alvernia University. Option B. Politely but firmly decline the offer, stating your commitment to earning admission through your own efforts and integrity. Option C. Ignore the offer and proceed with the exam, hoping to pass legitimately without acknowledging the proposition. Option D. Immediately report the acquaintance to the university authorities without directly engaging with them about the offer. The correct answer is B. Politely but firmly decline the offer, stating your commitment to earning admission through your own efforts and integrity. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between a student's desire for academic success and the university's commitment to academic integrity. The pressure to perform well on entrance exams can lead individuals to consider unethical shortcuts. Careful judgment is required to navigate this situation ethically, upholding the principles of fairness and honesty that are fundamental to academic institutions. The correct approach involves recognizing the ethical boundary and choosing to decline the offer of unauthorized assistance. This upholds the principle of academic integrity, which is paramount in university admissions. By refusing the illicit help, the student demonstrates personal integrity and a commitment to earning admission through legitimate means. This aligns with the Alvernia University's ethical guidelines, which implicitly or explicitly prohibit any form of academic dishonesty, including the use of unauthorized aids or information during entrance examinations. Such integrity is a foundational expectation for all students. An incorrect approach involves accepting the offer of unauthorized assistance. This is a direct violation of academic integrity principles and likely contravenes specific regulations or policies of Alvernia University regarding examination conduct. It undermines the fairness of the admissions process for all other applicants who are preparing honestly. Another incorrect approach is to report the offer to the university authorities without first considering the implications or attempting to resolve it directly with the individual making the offer. If appropriate and safe, reporting is often necessary. A nuanced approach might involve a direct refusal first, depending on the perceived threat and the university's reporting protocols. However, accepting the offer is unequivocally wrong. A further incorrect approach would be to ignore the offer and proceed with the exam without any action, hoping to pass legitimately. While this avoids direct participation in cheating, it fails to address the unethical proposition and potentially allows an unfair advantage to be offered to others or to persist, Professionals in similar situations should employ a decision-making framework that prioritizes ethical conduct and adherence to institutional policies. This involves 1. Identifying the ethical issue, recognizing the offer of unauthorized assistance as a breach of integrity. 2. Consulting relevant guidelines, understanding Alvernia University's policies on academic honesty and examination conduct. 3. Evaluating options, considering the consequences of accepting, refusing, or reporting the offer. 4. Making a decision, choosing the course of action that upholds ethical principles and institutional rules. 5. Taking action, implementing the chosen decision, which in this case would be to refuse the offer and potentially report it if the situation warrants. Question 6. Operational review demonstrates that Alvernia University is projected to fall short of its enrollment targets for the upcoming academic year, potentially impacting its financial stability. The admissions committee is considering adjustments to the admissions criteria to address this shortfall. Which of the following approaches best aligns with Alvernia University's commitment to academic excellence and equitable opportunity? Option A. Immediately lower the minimum GPA and standardized test score requirements across all programs to attract a larger number of applicants, prioritizing quantity over academic qualifications to meet enrollment numbers. Option B. Conduct a comprehensive review of the current admissions process to identify potential barriers to admission for qualified candidates and explore ways to enhance outreach to diverse applicant pools, while ensuring that any adjustments to criteria are evidence-based and maintain academic rigor. Option C. Create a parallel admissions track with significantly reduced academic prerequisites for students who are identified as having strong potential for extracurricular involvement or athletic talent, regardless of their academic preparedness for university-level coursework. Option D. Introduce a special admissions category for students who are close to meeting the standard criteria, but can demonstrate a significant financial contribution to the university, allowing them to bypass some of the standard academic evaluations. The correct answer is B. Conduct a comprehensive review of the current admissions process to identify potential barriers to admission for qualified candidates and explore ways to enhance outreach to diverse applicant pools, while ensuring that any adjustments to criteria are evidence-based and maintain academic rigor. Explanation: this scenario is professionally challenging because it requires balancing the university's immediate financial needs with its long-term ethical obligations to its students and the integrity of its admissions process. The pressure to meet enrollment targets can lead to decisions that compromise these core values. Careful judgment is required to ensure that any adjustments to admissions criteria are fair, transparent, and do not disadvantage deserving applicants. The correct approach involves a thorough review of the admissions process, focusing on identifying any systemic biases or unintended consequences of current criteria. This approach prioritizes fairness and equity, aligning with the ethical principles of higher education and the implied commitment to providing opportunities based on merit and potential. Specifically, it adheres to the Alvernia University's stated commitment to holistic review and equal opportunity, ensuring that any changes are data-driven and aimed at improving the process for all prospective students, rather than simply meeting a numerical target. This upholds the university's reputation and fosters trust among applicants and the wider community. An incorrect approach that prioritizes immediate enrollment targets by lowering academic standards risks devaluing the degrees awarded by Alvernia University. This could lead to a decline in academic quality, increased student attrition, and damage to the university's reputation. Ethically, it fails to uphold the principle of providing a rigorous and meaningful educational experience. Another incorrect approach that involves selectively admitting students who may not fully meet the established criteria based on their perceived ability to contribute financially, creates an unfair admissions system. This practice is ethically problematic as it introduces a form of discrimination, potentially disadvantaging applicants from less privileged background who possess strong academic potential but lack financial means. It also undermines the principle of merit-based admissions. A further incorrect approach that involves creating a separate, less rigorous admissions track for students who narrowly miss the standard criteria, without clear justification or transparency, can lead to perceptions of unfairness and a two-tiered system. This undermines the integrity of the admissions process and can create resentment among students who were admitted through the standard track, Professionals should employ a decision-making framework that begins with clearly defining the problem and its potential impacts. This involves gathering data, consulting relevant stakeholders, admissions staff, faculty, student representatives, and considering the ethical implications of each potential solution. The framework should prioritize adherence to university policies, ethical guidelines, and the overarching mission of the institution. Decisions should be transparent, justifiable, and focused on long-term sustainability and the well-being of the student body. Question 7. Regulatory review indicates that Alvernia University's entrance exam policies strictly prohibit any form of unauthorized assistance during the examination period. A prospective student, preparing for the exam, contacts an admissions officer inquiring about effective study strategies that might help them recall specific concepts tested on past exams. How should the admissions officer respond to maintain the integrity of the Alvernia University entrance exam process? Option A. Inform the student that the university cannot provide any information that could be construed as assistance for the exam and to prepare independently. Option B. Advise the student to consult online forums and unofficial study groups where other prospective students share their experiences and insights about the exam. Option C. Provide the student with a detailed overview of the university's academic integrity policy, emphasizing the importance of original work and outlining the consequences of any form of cheating, while offering general guidance on study skills and resources available for preparation that do not involve specific exam content. Option D. Offer to share a curated list of topics that are frequently covered in the entrance exam, based on general knowledge of the subject matter. The correct answer is C. Provide the student with a detailed overview of the university's academic integrity policy, emphasizing the importance of original work and outlining the consequences of any form of cheating, while offering general guidance on study skills and resources available for preparation that do not involve specific exam content. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between a student's desire for academic success and the university's commitment to academic integrity. The pressure to perform well on entrance exams can lead students to seek unfair advantages, requiring university staff to maintain vigilance and uphold ethical standards. Careful judgment is required to balance support for students with the enforcement of regulations designed to ensure a fair and equitable admissions process. The correct approach involves a proactive and transparent communication strategy. This entails clearly outlining the university's academic integrity policies, including specific prohibitions against unauthorized assistance, and providing accessible resources for students to understand these expectations. By emphasizing the importance of original work and the consequences of academic misconduct, the university fosters an environment where ethical behavior is valued and understood. This aligns with the Alvernia University entrance exams regulatory framework, which prioritizes fairness and integrity in the admissions process. An incorrect approach would be to ignore the student's inquiry, as this fails to address a potential ethical breach and misses an opportunity to educate the student on acceptable practices. This inaction could be interpreted as tacit approval of unethical behavior, undermining the integrity of the exam. Another incorrect approach would be to provide the student with direct answers or hints to the exam questions. This constitutes a severe breach of academic integrity, directly violating the principles of fair assessment. Such an action would not only compromise the validity of the entrance exam, but also expose the university to reputational damage and potential disciplinary action for its staff. A third incorrect approach would be to dismiss the student's inquiry without providing any guidance or clarification. While not as severe as providing direct assistance, this approach fails to uphold the university's responsibility to educate students on ethical conduct and may leave the student confused or inclined to seek illicit means to prepare. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a commitment to transparency, education, and adherence to established policies. When faced with inquiries that suggest potential ethical concerns, professionals should first refer to the relevant university regulation and guidelines. They should then communicate clearly and proactively with the individual involved, explaining the rules and the rationale behind them. If a potential violation is identified, a fair and consistent process for investigation and resolution should be followed, always prioritizing the integrity of the institution and the fairness of its processes. Question 8. Consider a scenario where a prospective student preparing for the Alvernia University entrance exam encounters online forums and unofficial study materials that claim to offer insider information or predictive questions for the exam. The student is feeling pressure to perform exceptionally well. Which of the following actions best demonstrates adherence to the Alvernia University entrance exam's regulatory framework and ethical standards? Option A. Sharing unverified tips and potential exam questions found on online forums with other prospective students to help them prepare. Option B. Relying heavily on unofficial study guides that promise to reveal guaranteed questions or specific topics not explicitly mentioned in official university materials. Option C. Focusing preparation solely on the most frequently discussed topics in unofficial online forums, assuming these are the most likely to appear on the exam. Option D. Prioritizing the official Alvernia University entrance exam study guides and syllabus, and contacting the university admissions office for any clarifications regarding exam content or preparation. The correct answer is D. Prioritizing the official Alvernia University entrance exam study guides and syllabus, and contacting the university admissions office for any clarifications regarding exam content or preparation. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between a student's desire for academic success and the university's commitment to academic integrity. Pressure to perform well on a crucial entrance exam, coupled with the availability of potentially misleading information, requires careful judgment to uphold ethical standards. The correct approach involves prioritizing the official Alvernia University entrance exam guidelines and seeking clarification directly from the university. This is the most professionally sound method because it adheres strictly to the specified regulatory framework for the exam. By consulting official sources, the student ensures they are acting within the bounds of the exam's rules and expectations, thereby demonstrating integrity and respect for the academic process. This aligns with the ethical principle of honesty and the regulatory requirement to follow all stated examination procedures. An incorrect approach would be to rely on unofficial study guides that claim to contain guaranteed questions or insights not found in official materials. This is professionally unacceptable because it deviates from the established regulatory framework of the Alvernia University entrance exam. Such reliance suggests a disregard for the integrity of the examination process and could lead to the use of unfair advantages or misinformation, violating ethical principles of fairness and honesty. Another incorrect approach would be to share or discuss specific, unverified tips or leaked information with other prospective students. This is professionally unsound, as it undermines the principle of a fair and equitable examination for all candidates. It also potentially violates the exam's integrity by creating an uneven playing field and could be construed as academic misconduct, directly contravening the spirit and letter of the Alvernia University entrance exam regulations. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a clear hierarchy of information sources. First, always refer to the official documentation and guidelines provided by the examining institution. Second, if ambiguity exists or clarification is needed, directly contact the designated authority or department within the institution. Third, critically evaluate any unofficial information, recognizing its potential for inaccuracy or bias, and prioritize official guidance above all else. This systematic approach ensures adherence to regulations and upholds ethical standards. Question 9. Compliance review shows a pattern of students seeking external assistance for essay components of the Alvernia University entrance exam, with some students admitting to using AI-generated content without proper attribution. The admissions committee is considering how to address this issue to maintain the integrity of the entrance process. Which of the following represents the most appropriate initial response from the university's perspective? Option A. Issue a university-wide communication reinforcing the academic integrity policy, specifically addressing the ethical use of AI tools in academic work, and providing clear guidelines on attribution and acceptable use for the entrance exam. Option B. Focus solely on identifying and penalizing students who are caught, without proactively educating the broader applicant pool on the evolving landscape of AI in academic work. Option C. Allow the use of AI-generated content as long as it is acknowledged, even if the university's academic integrity policy does not explicitly permit this for entrance exams. Option D. Immediately disqualify any student found to have used AI-generated content, regardless of the extent or prior knowledge of university policy. Correct answer is D. Immediately disqualify any student found to have used AI-generated content, regardless of the extent or prior knowledge of university policy. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between a student's desire for academic success and the university's commitment to academic integrity. The pressure to perform well on entrance exams can lead students to seek unfair advantages, while the university must uphold fair and equitable assessment standards. Careful judgment is required to balance support for students with the need to prevent and address academic misconduct. The correct approach involves a proactive and educational stance. It recognizes that students may not fully understand the implications of certain actions or may be influenced by peer pressure. By focusing on education about academic integrity policies and providing clear guidance on acceptable research practices, the university fosters a culture of honesty. This approach aligns with the Alvernia University's stated commitment to ethical conduct and academic excellence, as outlined in its student handbook and academic integrity policy, which emphasize the importance of original work and the consequences of plagiarism. An incorrect approach that involves immediate disciplinary action without prior educational intervention fails to address the root cause of potential misconduct. This can be perceived as overly punitive and may not deter future violations if the student does not understand why their actions were wrong. It also misses an opportunity to guide the student towards ethical academic practices. Another incorrect approach, which is to ignore the potential issue due to the student's perceived high potential, directly undermines the university's commitment to fairness. This creates an uneven playing field for other applicants and compromises the integrity of the admissions process. It suggests that talent can excuse unethical behavior, which is contrary to the principles of academic and professional integrity. A further incorrect approach, which is to simply provide a generic warning without specific examples or policy references, is insufficient. While it acknowledges a concern, it lacks the clarity and detail necessary for the student to understand the boundaries of acceptable behavior. This can lead to unintentional violations in the future. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a tiered approach. First, education and clear communication of expectations. Second, monitoring and support. And third, appropriate disciplinary action if violations occur after clear guidance has been provided. This ensures that students are given the opportunity to succeed ethically and that the university's standards are upheld consistently. Question 10. The investigation demonstrates a pattern of potential academic dishonesty among a cohort of students in a core course. The faculty member suspects that unauthorized collaboration occurred during a recent online assessment. The university's academic integrity policy, as per Alvernia University's guidelines, outlines a specific protocol for addressing such allegations. Which of the following actions best aligns with the Alvernia University entrance exam's regulatory framework for handling suspected academic misconduct? Option A. Immediately report the suspected misconduct to the Dean of Students and request that all involved students be automatically failed in the course. Option B. Advise the students informally that such behavior is unacceptable and warn them against future occurrences without initiating any formal record or investigation. Option C. Share the suspicions with other faculty members to gauge their experiences with these students before deciding on a course of action. Option D. Conduct a thorough, documented investigation according to the university's academic integrity policy, including notifying the students, providing them with an opportunity to respond to the allegations, and presenting evidence before any disciplinary action is considered. Correct answer is A. Immediately report the suspected misconduct to the Dean of Students and request that all involved students be automatically failed in the course. Explanation. This scenario is professionally challenging because it requires balancing the university's commitment to academic integrity with the need to protect the privacy and rights of its students. The pressure to act swiftly and decisively in response to potential academic misconduct must be tempered by adherence to established procedures and ethical considerations. Careful judgment is required to ensure that any investigation is fair, thorough, and respects due process. The correct approach involves initiating a formal investigation process as outlined by Alvernia University's academic integrity policy. This policy, which serves as the governing regulatory framework for this exam, typically mandates specific steps for addressing allegations of academic misconduct. These steps usually include notifying the accused student, providing them with an opportunity to respond, gathering evidence, and convening a disciplinary committee or panel to review the case and make a determination. This approach is ethically sound and legally defensible as it upholds principles of fairness, transparency, and due process, ensuring that decisions are based on evidence and established procedures, thereby protecting the university from potential legal challenges and maintaining its reputation for academic rigor. An incorrect approach of immediately imposing sanctions without a formal investigation fails to adhere to Alvernia University's established academic integrity policy. This bypasses the student's right to a fair hearing and to present their defense, which is a fundamental ethical and procedural failure. It also risks making an erroneous judgment based on incomplete information, potentially leading to unjust consequences for the student and reputational damage for the university. Another incorrect approach of dismissing the allegations outright without any form of inquiry, even if the initial evidence seems weak, is also professionally unacceptable. This neglects the university's responsibility to investigate credible concerns of academic misconduct. It undermines the integrity of the academic environment and may embolden future instances of dishonesty. Such inaction can be seen as a dereliction of duty and a failure to uphold the standards expected by the university community and its stakeholders. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a systematic approach. First, understanding and strictly adhering to the university's established policies and procedures for academic misconduct. Second, gathering all available information and evidence objectively. Third, ensuring that the accused student is fully informed of the allegations and their rights. Fourth, providing the student with a meaningful opportunity to respond and present their case. Finally, making a decision based on the evidence presented and in accordance with the university's policy, ensuring fairness and due process throughout the entire process. Question 11. The analysis reveals that during the Alvernia University entrance exam, a proctor observes a candidate discreetly using a small, pre-written note concealed within their sleeve. The proctor is aware of the university's strict policy against any form of academic dishonesty. What is the most appropriate course of action for the proctor to take in this situation? Adhering strictly to Alvernia University's entrance exam regulations and ethical guidelines. Option A. Ignore the observation to avoid disrupting the exam environment and potentially causing distress to the candidate. Option B. Approach the candidate privately after the exam and advise them against such actions in the future without reporting the incident. Option C. Discreetly confiscate the note and inform the candidate that their exam will be invalidated. Then report the incident to the examination board. Option D. Allow the candidate to continue the exam, but make a mental note to flag their performance for review without immediate intervention. The correct answer is C. Discreetly confiscate the note and inform the candidate that their exam will be invalidated, then report the incident to the examination board. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between a student's desire for academic success and the university's commitment to academic integrity. The pressure to perform well on entrance exams can lead some students to seek unfair advantages. Alvernia University's entrance exam regulations are designed to ensure a fair and equitable assessment process for all applicants. Navigating this situation requires a strong understanding of these regulations and ethical principles. The correct approach involves upholding the integrity of the examination process by reporting the observed misconduct. This aligns with Alvernia University's entrance exam regulation, which explicitly prohibit any form of cheating or academic dishonesty. Ethically, reporting such behavior is a duty to the university community and to other applicants who are competing fairly. It ensures that the admissions process remains valid and that degrees awarded by Alvernia University maintain their value. An incorrect approach would be to ignore the observed behavior. This failure to act would implicitly condone academic dishonesty and undermine the principles of fairness and meritocracy that Alvernia University upholds. It also violates the spirit, if not the letter, of the regulations designed to prevent such occurrences. Another incorrect approach would be to confront the student directly and offer assistance in a way that could be construed as aiding in cheating. This would also violate the university's regulations and ethical standards, as it could be seen as facilitating or participating in academic misconduct. The professional decision-making process in such situations should involve 1. Identifying the potential violation of university regulations. 2. Recognizing the ethical obligation to maintain academic integrity. 3. Consulting the specific Alvernia University entrance exam regulations regarding academic misconduct. 4. Reporting the observed behavior through the designated university channels, allowing the appropriate authorities to investigate and act. Question 12. Market research demonstrates that prospective students are highly influenced by perceived career outcomes when choosing a university program. Alvernia University's marketing department is developing new promotional materials for its Bachelor of Science in Data Analytics program. The team is considering various angles to attract applicants. Which of the following approaches best aligns with ethical marketing practices and the likely expectations of prospective students seeking accurate information for their educational investment? Option A. Present a curated selection of success stories from a few exceptional alumni, implying that these outcomes are typical for all graduates of the program. Option B. Focus exclusively on the cutting-edge technology used in the program and the innovative nature of data analytics, using aspirational language about future success without specific data points. Option C. Highlight the university's strong reputation and rankings, suggesting that enrollment in any program guarantees a successful and lucrative career path. Option D. Emphasize the high starting salaries of graduates in the data analytics field, supported by recent industry reports, while also clearly stating the program's rigorous curriculum and the importance of continuous learning for career advancement. The correct answer is D. Emphasize the high starting salaries of graduates in the data analytics field, supported by recent industry reports, while also clearly stating the program's rigorous curriculum and the importance of continuous learning for career advancement. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between a university's need to attract students and the ethical obligation to provide accurate and unbiased information. The pressure to meet enrollment targets can tempt individuals to overstate program benefits or downplay challenges, which is a direct violation of ethical marketing principles and potentially university policy. Careful judgment is required to balance promotional efforts with truthful representation. The correct approach involves prioritizing transparency and factual accuracy in all marketing materials. This means clearly outlining program outcomes, admission requirements, and potential career paths without exaggeration. It aligns with the ethical duty of honesty and integrity expected of university representatives, ensuring prospective students can make informed decisions based on realistic expectations. This approach upholds the university's reputation and fosters trust with its stakeholders. An approach that focuses solely on highlighting positive outcomes while omitting or minimizing potential drawbacks fails to provide a complete picture. This is ethically problematic as it misleads prospective students and can lead to dissatisfaction or poor academic fit later. It also risks violating any university guidelines or general principles of fair advertising that prohibit deceptive practices. An approach that uses vague or unsubstantiated claims about program success or graduate employment rates is also incorrect. Such claims lack concrete evidence and can be perceived as misleading. This undermines the credibility of the university and can lead to accusations of misrepresentation. An approach that emphasizes the prestige of the university without detailing the specific benefits or relevance of the program to a student's career goals is insufficient. While prestige can be a factor, it does not substitute for clear, program-specific information that helps a student assess suitability and potential return on investment. This approach fails to meet the stakeholders' need for relevant, actionable information. Professionals should employ a decision-making framework that begins with identifying the core objective, attracting students, and then critically evaluating potential strategies against ethical principles and university guidelines. This involves asking, is this information truthful? Is it complete? Is it fair? Does it set realistic expectations? Prioritizing transparency and accuracy, even if it means a less immediately exciting marketing message, is crucial for long-term integrity and stakeholder trust. Question 13. To address the challenge of integrating a new AI-powered admissions tool, which approach best ensures Alvernia University upholds its commitment to equitable and transparent admissions while adhering to its internal guidelines and ethical standards? Option A. Utilize the AI tool for initial candidate screening, but rely entirely on its recommendations for final admissions decisions to ensure consistency. Option B. Immediately deploy the AI tool to streamline the admissions process and reduce workload, assuming its developers have already addressed any potential biases. Option C. Implement the AI tool without extensive testing, focusing solely on its efficiency gains, and inform applicants that decisions are algorithmically determined. Option D. Conduct an independent audit of the AI tool's algorithms for potential biases. Establish a clear human oversight process for all AI-influenced decisions, and develop a transparent appeals procedure for applicants. The correct answer is D. Conduct an independent audit of the AI tool's algorithms for potential biases. Establish a clear human oversight process for all AI-influenced decisions, and develop a transparent appeals procedure for applicants. Explanation. The scenario presents a challenge for Alvernia University's admissions committee regarding the ethical and regulatory implications of using a new AI-powered admissions tool. The core difficulty lies in balancing the university's commitment to fair and equitable admissions with the potential for algorithmic bias and the need for transparency, all within the framework of Alvernia University's internal policies and any applicable general educational guidelines that might govern admissions processes. The university must ensure that its admissions decisions are not discriminatory and that the process is understood and accepted by all stakeholders, including prospective students, their families, faculty, and the university administration. The correct approach involves a thorough, multifaceted review of the AI tool. This includes independent validation of its algorithms for bias, ensuring human oversight in the final decision-making process, and establishing clear guidelines for its use and for appealing decisions made with its assistance. This approach aligns with principles of fairness, accountability, and due diligence, which are fundamental to ethical admissions practices. It respects the rights of applicants by providing mechanisms for review and appeal, and it safeguards the university from potential legal or reputational damage by proactively addressing bias and ensuring transparency. This aligns with the spirit of Alvernia University's commitment to providing educational opportunities based on merit and potential, rather than on factors that could be unfairly influenced by an opaque algorithm. An incorrect approach would be to immediately implement the AI tool without rigorous testing for bias. This fails to uphold the university's ethical obligation to provide a fair admissions process and could lead to discriminatory outcomes, violating principles of equal opportunity. Another incorrect approach would be to rely solely on the AI's recommendations without any human review. This abdicates the university's responsibility for making informed and nuanced admissions decisions, potentially overlooking qualified candidates who might not fit the AI's predefined parameters. Furthermore, failing to establish an appeal process for decisions influenced by the AI would deny applicants due process and undermine trust in the admissions system. Professionals in university admissions should adopt a decision-making framework that prioritizes ethical considerations and regulatory compliance. This involves 1. Identifying potential risks and ethical dilemmas associated with new technologies or processes. 2. Researching and understanding relevant university policies and any overarching educational guidelines. 3. Seeking expert advice, particularly on technical aspects like algorithmic bias. 4. Developing clear, transparent procedures that include safeguards and avenues for recourse. 5. Implementing a phased approach, starting with pilot programs and thorough evaluation before full adoption. 6. Continuously monitoring and reviewing the effectiveness and fairness of implemented systems. Question 14. The review process indicates a potential breach of academic integrity by an applicant during the Alvernia University entrance exam, specifically concerning the alleged use of unauthorized external resources. The admissions committee is aware of the applicant's strong academic background and potential contribution to the university. What is the most appropriate course of action for the admissions committee to uphold the integrity of the entrance process while ensuring fairness to the applicant? Option A. Immediately disqualify the applicant from the admissions process based on the initial report of alleged misconduct. Option B. Conduct a thorough and impartial investigation into the alleged misconduct, following Alvernia University's established academic integrity policies, which includes providing the applicant with an opportunity to respond to the allegations. Option C. Conduct a brief, informal inquiry without formally notifying the applicant of the specific allegations or allowing them to present their defense. Option D. Overlook the allegation due to the applicant's strong academic profile and potential value to the university, prioritizing their admission. The correct answer is B. Conduct a thorough and impartial investigation into the alleged misconduct, following Alvernia University's established academic integrity policies, which includes providing the applicant with an opportunity to respond to the allegations. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between a student's desire for academic success and the university's commitment to academic integrity. Pressure to perform well on entrance exams can lead students to seek unfair advantages, necessitating a robust and ethically sound response from the university. Careful judgment is required to uphold the integrity of the admissions process while treating all applicants fairly. The correct approach involves a thorough and impartial investigation into the alleged misconduct, adhering strictly to Alvernia University's established academic integrity policies. This approach prioritizes fairness, due process, and the principle of innocent until proven guilty. It requires gathering evidence, providing the applicant with an opportunity to respond, and making a decision based on established procedures and evidence, thereby upholding the university's commitment to academic honesty and the credibility of its entrance examinations. An incorrect approach that involves immediate disqualification without investigation fails to provide due process. This violates the ethical principle of fairness and the implicit understanding that accusations require substantiation. It also risks penalizing an innocent applicant based on unsubstantiated claims, which is professionally unacceptable. Another incorrect approach, which is to ignore the allegation due to the applicant's potential value to the university, represents a severe ethical failure. This prioritizes expediency or perceived institutional benefit over integrity and fairness. It undermines the entire admissions process and sets a dangerous precedent, suggesting that rules can be bent for certain individuals, thereby eroding trust in the university's standards. A further incorrect approach, which is to conduct a superficial inquiry that does not allow the applicant to present their side of the story, also fails to meet professional standards. This lack of thoroughness and transparency can lead to an unjust outcome and damage the university's reputation. It neglects the fundamental ethical obligation to ensure a fair hearing for all individuals involved in an alleged infraction. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should involve a structured approach. 1. Acknowledge and document the allegation. 2. Consult the relevant university policies and procedures regarding academic integrity and admissions. 3. Initiate a fair and impartial investigation, gathering all pertinent evidence. 4. Provide the accused applicant with clear notification of the allegations and an opportunity to respond. 5. Evaluate the evidence and the applicant's response in accordance with established policies. 6. Make a decision based on the findings, ensuring it is consistent, fair, and defensible. 7. Communicate the decision and any subsequent actions clearly to the applicant. Question 15. What factors determine the most appropriate course of action for an Alvernia University entrance exam applicant who realizes they may have inadvertently violated an exam instruction during the test? Option A. The applicant's justification of their actions based on their interpretation of the instruction without seeking external clarification. Option B. The applicant's discreet consultation with other candidates during the exam to gauge their understanding of the instruction. Option C. The applicant's attempt to conceal the potential violation and continue with the exam, hoping it will not be detected. Option D. The applicant's immediate assessment of the severity of the potential violation and a proactive request for clarification from the exam proctor, coupled with an honest admission of the oversight. The correct answer is D. The applicant's immediate assessment of the severity of the potential violation and a proactive request for clarification from the exam proctor, coupled with an honest admission of the oversight. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires an applicant to navigate the ethical considerations and academic integrity standards expected by Alvernia University during the entrance examination process. The challenge lies in identifying the appropriate course of action when faced with a situation that could be perceived as a breach of these standards, even if unintentional. Careful judgment is required to distinguish between genuine misunderstanding and deliberate misconduct. The correct approach involves proactively seeking clarification and admitting to the potential oversight. This demonstrates a commitment to academic honesty and a willingness to adhere to university regulations. Specifically, it aligns with the Alvernia University entrance exam's implicit expectation of integrity and transparency from its applicants. By admitting the mistake and asking for guidance, the applicant signals respect for the examination process and the university's values, which prioritize ethical conduct. An incorrect approach would be to ignore the potential issue and hope it goes unnoticed. This is professionally unacceptable, as it suggests a disregard for the examination rules and a lack of integrity. It could be interpreted as an attempt to gain an unfair advantage or to conceal a potential violation, which directly contravenes the principles of fair assessment. Another incorrect approach would be to attempt to justify the action without seeking clarification or admitting the oversight. This can be perceived as evasive or as an attempt to downplay the seriousness of the situation. It fails to demonstrate the transparency and accountability expected of an applicant. A third incorrect approach would be to seek advice from other applicants during the exam. This constitutes a direct violation of exam regulations regarding collaboration and academic dishonesty. It undermines the fairness of the examination and demonstrates a lack of understanding of basic academic integrity principles. Professionals should employ a decision-making framework that prioritizes honesty, transparency, and adherence to established rules. When faced with uncertainty or a potential error, the first step should be to pause and assess the situation against the known guidelines. If there is any doubt, the most ethical course of action is to seek clarification from the proctor or examination administrator before proceeding. Admitting to a mistake, if one has been made, and seeking guidance demonstrates maturity and a commitment to ethical conduct, which are crucial for academic and professional success. Question 16. The performance metrics show a statistically significant increase in the number of students achieving unusually high scores on a particular assessment, coinciding with a rise in the use of online collaborative tools by the student body. The Dean of Academic Affairs is concerned about potential academic misconduct. Which of the following represents the most appropriate initial course of action according to Alvernia University's regulatory framework for academic integrity? Option A. Conduct a review of the assessment's difficulty and format to determine if it was too easy and adjust it for future offerings without further action. Option B. Publicly announce that the university is investigating potential academic misconduct to deter future occurrences. Option C. Initiate a formal investigation process as outlined in Alvernia University's academic integrity policy, gathering evidence and providing students an opportunity to respond. Option D. Immediately implement a stricter grading policy for future assessments and issue a general warning to all students about academic misconduct. Correct answer is D. Immediately implement a stricter grading policy for future assessments and issue a general warning to all students about academic misconduct. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires balancing the university's stated commitment to academic integrity with the practical pressures of student retention and institutional reputation. The performance metrics, while indicating a potential issue, do not definitively prove academic misconduct. A hasty decision based solely on these metrics could unfairly penalize students and damage the university's standing. Careful judgment is required to ensure a fair and thorough process. The correct approach involves initiating a formal investigation process as outlined by Alvernia University's academic integrity policy. This approach is right because it adheres to established university regulations and ethical principles of due process. It ensures that any allegations are investigated systematically, with opportunities for students to respond and present their case. This aligns with the university's commitment to fairness and upholding academic standards, as mandated by its internal policies. An incorrect approach would be to immediately implement punitive measures based on the performance metrics alone. This fails to acknowledge the possibility of alternative explanations for the metrics and bypasses the university's established investigation procedures. Such an action would violate the principles of natural justice and could lead to wrongful accusations and disciplinary actions, undermining the trust and credibility of the university. Another incorrect approach would be to ignore the performance metrics entirely, assuming they are not indicative of a problem. This neglects the university's responsibility to monitor academic standards and address potential issues proactively. It could allow academic misconduct to persist, thereby devaluing the degrees awarded by Alvernia University and failing to uphold the integrity of the academic environment. Professionals in this situation should employ a decision-making framework that prioritizes adherence to established policies and ethical conduct. This involves 1. Recognizing the situation and its potential implications. 2. Consulting relevant university policies and guidelines, e.g., Alvernia University's Academic Integrity Policy. 3. Gathering further information and evidence through a fair and impartial process. 4. Making a decision based on established procedures and evidence, ensuring due process for all involved. 5. Documenting all steps taken and decisions made. Question 17. The performance metrics show a statistically significant increase in students achieving identical scores on a recent challenging assessment within a specific course, raising concerns about potential academic misconduct. As an academic administrator at Alvernia University, which of the following actions best aligns with the university's commitment to academic integrity and fair process? Option A. Publicly announce a warning to all students about the university's zero-tolerance policy for academic dishonesty without specifying the course or assessment. Option B. Advise the course instructor to simply adjust the grading curve for the assessment to account for the unusual score distribution. Option C. Immediately implement a mandatory reassessment for all students in that course with a lower maximum achievable score. Option D. Initiate a formal investigation according to Alvernia University's established academic integrity policy, which includes notifying the students involved and providing them an opportunity to respond to the observed patterns. Correct answer is C. Immediately implement a mandatory reassessment for all students in that course with a lower maximum achievable score. Explanation. This scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires balancing the university's stated commitment to academic integrity with the practical pressures of student retention and institutional reputation. The performance metrics, while indicating a potential issue, do not definitively prove academic misconduct. A hasty decision based solely on these metrics could unfairly penalize students and damage the university's standing. Careful judgment is required to ensure a fair and thorough process. The correct approach involves initiating a formal investigation process that adheres to Alvernia University's established academic integrity policies. This approach is right because it upholds the university's commitment to academic honesty by providing a structured and impartial mechanism for addressing potential misconduct. Specifically, it aligns with Alvernia University's guidelines by ensuring that allegations are investigated thoroughly, students are given an opportunity to respond, and decisions are made based on evidence, thereby protecting both the integrity of the academic program and the rights of the students. An incorrect approach would be to immediately implement punitive measures based on the performance metrics alone. This fails to adhere to Alvernia University's academic integrity policies, which mandate a due process for addressing suspected misconduct. Such an approach bypasses the investigation and student response stages, violating principles of fairness and natural justice. Another incorrect approach would be to ignore the performance metrics entirely, assuming they are not indicative of a serious problem. This neglects the university's responsibility to maintain academic standards and could allow systemic issues of academic dishonesty to persist, undermining the value of degrees awarded by Alvernia University. It fails to proactively address potential breaches of academic integrity as outlined in university guidelines. A third incorrect approach would be to consult external, non-university sources for guidance on how to handle the situation without first referring to Alvernia University's internal policies. This demonstrates a lack of understanding of the specific regulatory framework governing Alvernia University and could lead to actions that are not compliant with its established procedures, potentially creating legal or ethical complications. Professionals in this situation should employ a decision-making framework that prioritizes adherence to established institutional policies and ethical principles. This involves 1. Recognizing the potential issue and its implications. 2. Consulting and strictly following the relevant university policies and procedures, in this case, Alvernia University's Academic Integrity Framework. 3. Gathering all necessary information and evidence impartially. 4. Ensuring all parties involved are treated fairly and have an opportunity to be heard. 5. Making decisions based on established criteria and evidence, documented thoroughly. Question 18. The performance metrics show a statistically significant dip in the average scores for a particular course cohort compared to previous years, with a slight increase in the number of students scoring below the passing threshold. The department head is concerned about potential academic misconduct. Which of the following actions best reflects a responsible and ethical approach to addressing this situation within the Alvernia University entrance exam framework? Option A. Ignore the performance metrics, assuming it's a natural fluctuation in student performance. Option B. Advise the course instructor to lower the passing threshold for this cohort to improve retention rates. Option C. Initiate a confidential review of the course's teaching methods and assessment strategies, and if warranted, a formal inquiry into potential academic misconduct, ensuring due process for any students involved. Option D. Immediately inform the dean of students and recommend disciplinary action for the entire cohort due to the statistical anomaly. The correct answer is D. Immediately inform the dean of students and recommend disciplinary action for the entire cohort due to the statistical anomaly. Explanation: this scenario presents a professional challenge because it requires balancing the university's stated commitment to academic integrity with the practical pressures of student retention and institutional reputation. The performance metrics, while indicating a potential issue, are not definitive proof of academic misconduct. A hasty judgment based solely on these metrics could lead to unfair accusations and damage student trust, while ignoring them could compromise the university's academic standards. Careful judgment is required to ensure a fair and thorough process. The correct approach involves initiating a formal inquiry process that respects due process and allows for investigation. This approach aligns with Alvernia University's commitment to academic integrity as outlined in its student handbook and academic policies, which typically mandate a structured process for addressing suspected academic misconduct. This process ensures that students have the opportunity to respond to allegations and that decisions are based on evidence, not just statistical anomalies. Ethically, this upholds principles of fairness and justice. An incorrect approach would be to immediately implement punitive measures based solely on the performance metrics. This fails to acknowledge the possibility of external factors influencing performance and bypasses the university's established procedures for academic integrity. Such an action would violate the principles of due process and could lead to wrongful accusations, damaging the university's reputation and potentially facing legal challenges. Another incorrect approach would be to dismiss the performance metrics entirely without further investigation. While avoiding immediate punitive action, this approach neglects the university's responsibility to uphold academic standards and address potential systemic issues that might be contributing to the observed performance. It could signal a lack of commitment to academic rigor and potentially allow academic misconduct to go unchecked. Professionals should employ a decision-making framework that prioritizes evidence-based inquiry and adherence to established policies. This involves 1. Acknowledging the data but recognizing its limitations as sole evidence. 2. Consulting relevant university policies and procedures for academic integrity. 3. Initiating a fair and transparent investigation process. 4. Gathering all relevant information, including student perspectives. 5. Making a decision based on the totality of the evidence in accordance with university regulations. Question 19. System analysis indicates a prospective student preparing for the Alvernia University entrance exam has encountered online discussions suggesting that certain study guides, not officially endorsed by the university, might contain actual exam questions or highly probable topics. The student is feeling significant pressure to perform well. Which of the following represents the most ethically sound and compliant course of action? Option A. Share the existence of these unofficial guides with other prospective students to collectively assess their potential usefulness. Option B. Attempt to contact the source of the unofficial guides to verify their authenticity and potential exam relevance before deciding whether to use them. Option C. Obtain and study the unofficial study guides, as they may offer a significant advantage in preparing for the exam. Option D. Immediately disregard any information from unofficial sources and focus solely on publicly available preparation materials recommended by Alvernia University, seeking official clarification if any doubts arise about preparation methods. Correct answer is C. Obtain and study the unofficial study guides, as they may offer a significant advantage in preparing for the exam. Explanation: This scenario presents a professional challenge due to the inherent conflict between a student's desire for academic success and the university's commitment to academic integrity. The pressure to perform well on entrance exams can lead individuals to consider unethical shortcuts. Careful judgment is required to navigate this situation ethically and in accordance with Alvernia University's established guidelines. The correct approach involves prioritizing academic integrity and adhering strictly to the Alvernia University entrance exam regulations. This means refraining from any action that could be construed as seeking an unfair advantage or compromising the fairness of the examination process. Specifically, it aligns with the university's stated commitment to honesty and ethical conduct, which are foundational principles for all its students. Seeking clarification from an official university source about acceptable preparation methods, rather than relying on informal or potentially misleading information, demonstrates a commitment to following the established regulatory framework. An incorrect approach would be to engage with individuals offering unauthorized assistance or materials. This action directly violates the spirit and letter of academic integrity policies, which prohibit cheating, plagiarism, and any form of academic dishonesty. Relying on such assistance undermines the validity of the entrance exam as a measure of a student's genuine knowledge and aptitude. Furthermore, it could lead to severe disciplinary actions, including disqualification from the exam and potential rejection of admission. Another incorrect approach would be to ignore the university's stated guidelines and proceed with preparation methods that are not explicitly sanctioned. This demonstrates a lack of respect for the established regulatory framework and an assumption that the rules do not apply or can be circumvented. Such an attitude can lead to unintentional violations and a failure to understand the importance of adhering to institutional policies. The professional decision-making process for similar situations should begin with a thorough understanding of the relevant university regulations and ethical guidelines. When faced with ambiguity or pressure, the next step is to seek clarification from official university channels. This proactive approach ensures that all actions taken are compliant and ethically sound. Professionals should always err on the side of caution and prioritize integrity over perceived shortcuts, recognizing that long-term success is built on a foundation of honesty and ethical conduct. Question 20. The performance metrics show a significant decline in enrollment for several niche undergraduate programs, leading to a projected budget deficit for the upcoming fiscal year. The university president is considering several immediate actions to address this financial challenge. Which of the following represents the most ethically sound and strategically prudent approach for Alvernia University? Option A. Focus solely on increasing tuition fees for all students to offset the projected deficit, without considering the potential impact on affordability and accessibility. Option B. Implement across-the-board percentage-based budget cuts for all academic departments, regardless of their enrollment trends or strategic importance, to achieve the required savings. Option C. Immediately suspend enrollment in the underperforming programs and reallocate faculty to more popular departments to reduce overall operational costs. Option D. Initiate a comprehensive review of the underperforming programs, including an assessment of their academic value, student demand, potential for revitalization, and impact on the university's overall mission, before making any decisions about their future. The correct answer is C. Immediately suspend enrollment in the underperforming programs and reallocate faculty to more popular departments to reduce overall operational costs. Explanation. This scenario is professionally challenging because it requires balancing the university's financial health with its academic mission and ethical obligations to students. The performance metrics, while indicating a potential need for cost-saving measures, do not inherently dictate the specific actions to be taken. A hasty decision based solely on financial data could negatively impact student experience, program quality, and the university's reputation, potentially violating ethical principles of fairness and responsibility toward stakeholders. The correct approach involves a comprehensive review that considers multiple factors beyond just financial performance. This includes assessing the impact of any proposed changes on student learning outcomes, faculty resources, and the long-term strategic goals of Alvernia University. It requires engaging with relevant stakeholders, such as faculty, students, and administrative departments, to gather diverse perspectives and ensure that decisions are well-informed and equitable. This aligns with ethical principles of transparency, due diligence, and responsible stewardship of university resources, ensuring that decisions serve the best interests of the entire university community. An incorrect approach would be to immediately implement across-the-board budget cuts without a thorough analysis of their impact. This fails to acknowledge the unique contributions and needs of different academic programs and departments, potentially leading to the erosion of essential services or the weakening of strong academic areas. Such an approach could be seen as a failure of due diligence and a disregard for the university's educational mission. Another incorrect approach would be to prioritize cost savings by reducing student support services without exploring alternative funding or efficiency measures. This overlooks the university's ethical responsibility to provide a supportive learning environment and could disproportionately affect students, potentially hindering their academic success and overall university experience. This demonstrates a lack of commitment to student welfare. A third incorrect approach would be to make decisions based on anecdotal evidence or the loudest voices, rather than objective data and a structured evaluation process. This introduces bias and subjectivity, undermining the fairness and integrity of the decision-making process. It fails to uphold principles of impartiality and evidence-based practice. Professionals in university administration should employ a decision-making framework that emphasizes data-driven analysis, stakeholder engagement, ethical considerations, and strategic alignment. This involves clearly defining the problem, gathering relevant information from diverse sources, identifying and evaluating potential solutions, considering the ethical implications and potential consequences of each option, and making a reasoned decision that is transparently communicated and justifiable.